When stars come out and skies grow deep, God's love will guard you while you sleep. Be kind to friends both near and far. He sees your heart just as you are. Be humble, gentle, true, and kind, with tender care and peace in mind. When someone cries, don't store their hand. That's what the Lord will unvis near. Be brave, his voice both night and day. He'll guide your heart along his way. When morning kindness show in odd and do, for hearts that shine with faith and love, bring joy to God in heaven above. When stars come out and skies grow deep, God's love will guard you while you sleep. Be brave and strong when storms appear. That's what the Lord will on his stand. For God is close, his light and day. He'll guide your heart night and day. He'll guide your heart along his way. When morning comes, rise both night and love, bring joy to God in heaven above. When morning comes, rise bright and new. Let kindness show in all you do. For hearts that shine with faith and love, bring joy to God in heaven above. And above.
Sammy the Snail learns to wait.
In the whispering woods lived a little snail named Sammy. Sammy had a big dream, bigger than any snail in the forest. Every year, all the speedy creatures of the whispering woods gathered. Rabbits, birds, and even the quick-footed deer prepared to dash through the winding paths. Sammy, with his tiny shell and gentle pace, would watch from the starting line. His heart would thump with excitement, even though he knew he could not keep up. He would try his best, wiggling his way forward with all his might. But by the time he reached the first bend, the faster animals were already crossing the finish line. Sammy always finished last, often hours after everyone else. He would feel a little sad, wishing he could somehow magically sprout wings or zoom on tiny wheels. He often sighed, watching the other animals celebrate their speed and agility. If only I were not so slow, he would whisper to himself. One sunny afternoon, Sammy met an old wise squirrel named Nutty. Nutty was known for his thoughtful advice and calm demeanor. "Why the long face, little one?" Nutty chattered, cracking a nut. Sammy explained how his slowness made him feel left out and unspecial. Nutty listened patiently, then twitched his nose. "Sammy," he said gently, "everyone has their own unique pace and purpose. Speed is not the only way to be great." Sammy tried to understand, but his dream of winning a race still felt important. He wanted to feel the thrill of crossing the finish line with everyone cheering. The day of the next great forest race arrived. The air buzzed with anticipation, and the forest path was lined with cheering spectators. Sammy, as always, positioned himself at the very back of the starting line. He felt a familiar pang of longing, watching the agile competitors. "On your marks, get set, go," shouted the owl, who was the official race starter. The forest floor vibrated as rabbits leaped and birds soared. Sammy took a deep breath and began his steady journey. Inch by slow inch, he moved along the familiar path, not daring to hope for a miracle. But then, a strange darkness fell over the woods. The bright morning sky quickly turned a menacing shade of gray. A huge, dark storm cloud, like a giant blanket, rapidly spread across the sky. The cheerful atmosphere vanished, replaced by a sudden chill. The first drops of rain splattered onto the leaves. Soon, a gentle shower turned into a heavy downpour, soaking the forest. The wind howled, and the rain lashed down with incredible force. The race path, once clear, quickly became a treacherous river of mud. The speedy animals, caught off guard, stumbled and slid. Their quickness, which usually helped them, now made it harder to keep their footing. Panic began to spread among the racers. The path was washed out. Familiar landmarks disappeared, and they could not see clearly through the sheeting rain. "Which way is safe?" cried a panicked fox, skidding in the mud. "I cannot see the path," wailed a little robin, soaked and disoriented. Sammy, however, was moving at his usual unhurried pace. He was low to the ground, his eyes keenly observing every small detail. He noticed a faint raised ridge of earth just beneath the swirling mud. It was the original path, slightly higher and firmer than the surrounding flooded ground. Sammy remembered Nutty's words about having a unique purpose. His slow, careful way of moving allowed him to see what others missed. He slowly but surely began to follow this barely visible, stable path. Each inch was a thoughtful step, avoiding the deeper, more dangerous puddles. Soon other animals, cold and scared, saw Sammy's calm, steady movement. He seemed to know exactly where he was going. "Sammy! Wait!" shouted a cold rabbit. "How do you know where to go?" Sammy pointed with a gentle antennae. "Follow my pace," he called. "It is the safest way." One by one, the animals gathered behind Sammy. They trusted his slow, deliberate path, realizing that haste had led them astray. Sammy led them to a small dry cave, tucked away under a large rock. It was a shelter he had noticed on one of his many slow explorations. All the forest friends huddled together, safe and warm, as the storm raged outside. They were grateful for Sammy's steady leadership. When the storm finally passed, and the sun peeked through, the animals cheered for Sammy, not for his speed, but for his wisdom and patience. Sammy smiled, realizing his slowness had been a gift from God. He understood that God's timing is perfect, even when we feel left behind, just like the verse says, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him." Psalm 30. 7.